Hey, Robbie from Save Stores here, and I am gonna show you guys how to make my mask. So first off, I want to tell you kind of my inspiration for making the mask. Second, I want to show you the things that you're gonna need so that you can make my mask. And third, how to make it. So first off, I want to start with my inspiration. So when all of this first started with all of the masks and everything, it has been so hard to find a mask that is, I don't want to say universally comfortable, but fits a lot of different people without being these custom tailored ones. And I've tried to make all these different masks, and I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them. And I just couldn't find one that fit good. And if I made one that fit good and I tried to make it again, it just, for some reason, that other one didn't seem to work. And one of the things that I really like about this mask pattern is when I turn it around here, when it opens up, you can see how it kind of creates the perfect fit automatically. And it folds up to be really small to put in your pocket or anything. It doesn't really take up a whole lot of space. But because of the way that it actually just works, it fits a lot of different people very, very, very easy. So, and it's also easy to make, which is super awesome. So, I kind of got the start for this design from a clothing store or place in New York. I'm not really familiar with them, but one of my customers, I saw her mask and was like, wow, that's really neat. And she told me that she went to a Instagram called Bindle and Keep, and went and saw it, and she said, if you know what you're doing, you can kind of go backwards, and they make custom suits and stuff. I'm not really familiar with the company, but I do like their mask, and their Instagram was a lot of fun. So if you want to check out the roots of all this, you can go there. But I wanted to turn this into an in the hoop project for embroidery because I feel that it makes sewing a lot easier. Also, it's really easy to replicate because you just push a button and the machine's going to sew the exact mask every single time the same way. So what I did was I took the bones of their pattern and then I tweaked it, actually quite a bit, but just to make it fit a little better around my face. It was less industrial or commercial, where the other ones were made, I could tell, for speed, so they could crank out a lot, and it sounds like they made a ton of masks. But mine is a little more of a tailored fit, which is going to work a lot better for a lot more people. So with that being said, I'm going to tell you what you guys need. You're going to need an embroidery machine, and that embroidery machine is going to have to do a 6x10 embroidery hoop. So right there, you're going to need 2 pieces of fabric cut 6.5 inches by 10 inches and some stabilizer. And this here is what's called polymesh from OESD. There's also Floriani makes a no-show mesh, but let me grab a copy or a piece of this, and you can see here, sorry about that, that it's got a little bit of a texture to it, but you can breathe through it. It is a cutaway, so this isn't the water-soluble stuff. I would not recommend that. But it's going to be your foundation. It's going to provide a 3rd layer of filtration inside of your mask, which couldn't hurt. So with that being said, I'm going to now show you guys what it's going to take to make it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, of course, elastic. So you'll need 2 pieces of elastic cut 9 to 12 inches, depending on the size of the head. And if you're going to sew your elastic, you can do it with less. If you're going to tie it, I would recommend cutting it closer to the 12 inches. That way you've got enough room to get your knots and everything with ease. So with that, now we're going to sew it out on our machine. So let the fun begin. So our first step we're going to sew here is going to be our placement line, so we'll know where to put our base fabric. So the base fabric is the piece of fabric that you are actually going to see. It is not the part touching your mouth. So for this, I am going to use some duck cloth, and you need to make sure that your fabric covers all of the stitching and has a 1/4 inch at least on this side and a 1/4 inch on that side, because that'll give us our seam allowance. So in order to make this pattern as narrow as possible to fit a 6x10, I did not include the 1/4 inch seam allowance on the sides here. So now we're going to tack down this piece of fabric. And now we're going to put on our lining. So for this, we're going to make sure that we cover all of it. And now it's going to sew it. And this is the part of the in the hoop that I really like, because I don't have to stop at the corners and pivot. You're just going to watch it. It's going to sew it just like you would with forward and reverse. And then you take it out, and our sewing portion is done. And you can see here it has our 1/4 inch seam allowance that you will trim along, and lo and behold, it'll come out like this. And then you will turn it inside out, grabbing just the outer layer, and flip it around, and I will show you how to finish it off on the sewing machine. So now that it's all cut out here, we're gonna jump in. So once you flip it inside out, it looks beautiful. Then what I did is I went to my iron, I pressed it all out, and I folded down so that it's flush here with the top, pressed a seam, and then I flipped it up and pressed in a seam here. And I did the same thing on the bottom, flipped it down and up. Now one extra level that you could do here is you could top stitch around the top here. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna take this here and let me stick this under the foot here. And then I am just going to top stitch down. There. Do our quick reverse. Turn her around. And it's important to make sure that you get that bottom piece out. You don't want to accidentally sew the top and the bottom together. That wouldn't be good. But now we take and do the other side, same as we did. And I've got to tell you, for those of you that don't have it already, this pivot here where it starts and stops is so handy. Oh, it makes it so easy. So now I'm going to hit my scissor button. It's going to cut, lift the foot, do all the doodads for us. And now we're going to come in and we're going to sew the little pleats that make this whole thing work. So now all we do is we're going to stick it under and we're going to fold it down and then fold it up so that it's level. And you should have already pressed that. And now we're going to come in here and sew forward and back. And then come around. And I would recommend using a thread color that's a lot more similar, although we'll see at the end here, maybe this black is gonna be the look we want. How about that? But I'm doing this so you can see what I'm doing. And then we're gonna come over here and do this last one here. And our scissors. And now when we come back, all we have to do are trim these little tails here. Should be a top and a bottom one between each little bit. And it's all finished. But now when you open her up, bada boom, it's all fixed. So now what we're gonna do is take and you're gonna fold it over and you're gonna line it up right here. So right where these 2 points come together, you're gonna flip it over and sew right down that side. And you're going to repeat the same thing for the other side. And this gives us our little tube for the elastic to go into. Now, a extra tip, I'm doing this just to be more on the production side, but if you wanted to, you could double fold these ends, or you could serge them so that they're not raw. But I've been wearing these masks for quite a while and haven't noticed anything popping out. But got some threads to trim here. But you can see here, opens right up, and that is the mask all done. So it takes probably 10 minutes beginning to end, maybe 15. And you can make a mask, and they're super easy, super fun. I've had customers recommend to call this the 3D mask pattern. So that's what I'm gonna do, is the 3D mask pattern. And there you go. That's how it's done.